Hello everyone, coming to you from Osaka, Japan. And how does Osaka score as a city to work remotely? I feel like I'm kind of coming home because I was born up the road in Kobe, about a 20-minute train ride from here. I'm going to score the city based on the criteria you see on the screen right now: creative energy, healthcare, cost of living, quality of life, and more. And a spoiler alert, this is one of my favorite cities in the world, and it scores really high. If you want to see a detailed blog about Osaka, you can go to the borderlessoffice.com where I wrote a blog. But let's get started. First topic, cost of living in Japan. When you arrive in Japan, there's a nice surprise awaiting you, especially if you're using US dollars. Let's see how much $100 will get us today. Hello. Oh, how are you? Yen, please.
Okay.
Thank you. See you. How about that? Almost 15,000 yen for $100. That's a big deal because when I was in Japan 3 years ago, the exchange was about even. 100 yen for a dollar. So it's almost like compared to 3 years ago, everything is discounted 35%. So cost of living in Japan, how does it score? If it would have been 3 years ago when the exchange rate was lower, cost of living would be very expensive. It'd score like a 3. But today, especially if you're using dollars, cost of living just got better. It scores an 8. Your money goes a lot further in Japan. Right now, it's a perfect time to come visit and spend, especially if you're using dollars, and take advantage of the great exchange rate and affordability. Osaka in transportation. For this, coming to you from a bicycle. Why? Because everywhere you look in Osaka, people are on bicycles. Old, young, mothers with their babies, delivery men, businessmen. How does Osaka score for being bike friendly? Perfect 10 plus. It's amazing. I think it's probably one of the best cities in the world for being bike friendly. I think it also says a lot about a city when a city is bike friendly. And secondly, pedestrian friendly. So how is Osaka for walkability? It's a perfect 10. When you stop to think, Osaka has 3 million people, and the Osaka metropolitan area has 20 million. So it's a large city, and to manage that en masse like they do, so organized, you never have traffic jams, you don't need a car. You can get away with bicycle, walking, and the mass transit is amazing. Ride the metro. For the females watching, you have a women-only car, if you prefer. But the metro gets you anywhere. It's so easy to navigate with Google Maps. You could probably do it with a blindfold on. And then, of course, you have the trains. And you've heard all about the Japan bullet trains. They make it so easy to get around the country. For mass transit, how does Osaka score? It's a 10. Transportation in general is a 10. There may be no city easier. And that building there behind me is Osaka City Hall, very historic. For those of you watching from Taiwan, probably looks familiar in terms of architecture. It should, being that many of these historic buildings in Taiwan were built by Japan or during their occupation. You can watch my Taiwan videos by clicking the link above. And now, riding on what is the Rose Garden in Osaka. It's quite beautiful, next to the river. And during the spring, it's just really beautiful with all the roses. How does Osaka score for green space, parks? 10. Japanese, they have city design so well figured out and designed from early on. And they always made space for walking, pedestrian friendly, for parks, for enjoying greenery and green space. how about like museum and arts and culture in Osaka and just entertainment in general? There's so much history to Japan, so much history to the city, so much to explore, so many arts and creative. So just entertainment in general. For museums and art, Japan, Osaka is a 10. And then you have so much to explore. If you go to Kyoto, you can take a train anywhere or just within the city around all the little back alleys. So for explorability, which inspires creative energy, Osaka is a 10. And for entertainment, so for going to sporting events or concerts, just last week, Bruno Mars was here and we went to the concert. It was quite good. 3 sold out shows at the Tokyo Dome. And sporting events, last week I went to the World Series, baseball for Japan. Quite entertaining, especially the beer girls. And I just went to the J-League Championship last week in Kobe. Has everything you can offer in regard to sports. So for sports and events, Japan scores a 10, and all the main concerts that are going around the world, they usually stop in Japan. So for entertainment, it's a 10. Taking a coffee break. How about coffee and co-working spots in Osaka? There's quite a few places that you can rent to do work, but I find them a little bit too quiet. Meanwhile, when you go to Starbucks, it seems like everybody is working from here, or a lot of locals anyway, are plugged in from Starbucks or other coffee houses that are pretty welcoming to laptops. So I end up just working from coffee houses and mixing it up, keeping things interesting. I also put a message out on Facebook groups here asking for other people who have the freedom to work from anywhere, and I got no response. So I don't know if it's because there just aren't that many digital nomads in Osaka, meaning not English teachers, people that truly have the freedom to work from anywhere in the world, and they choose Osaka. So for coffee and co-working, how does Osaka score? It's an 8. And Wi-Fi is really good. Almost everywhere you go, including trains, have Wi-Fi. So for Wi-Fi, Osaka scores a 10. And other things that might be important for safety and security. Walking around the street, even in the middle of the night, female or male, how does Osaka score for safety? It's a 10. And for healthcare, how does Osaka score for healthcare if you have to go to the hospital? Number 1, it's more affordable than the US, and it's also very high quality. I'm going to be doing a video about healthcare in Osaka in January that you can watch. You can also press the link above where I did interview one of the world's best, Dr. Miyauchi, about thyroid disorder. You can click that link, but I'm going to go back to Kuma Hospital where Dr. Miyauchi is and talk more about healthcare. How is healthcare in Osaka? It's a 10. Now, I'm going to enjoy a coffee and one of these pumpkin cheesecakes from Starbucks. It seems like the treats, the big treats at Starbucks are extra delicious in Japan, and it happens to be one of my weaknesses. Takoyaki. When in Osaka, must eat this. How's the food of Osaka? There's like a saying in Tokyo, they call Osakans lazy. Why? Because they eat too much food and it's like gluttony. And I completely understand, because when I'm in Osaka, I eat so much food. The food is so delicious. And there's something about the preparation and the craftsmanship that goes into every little food stand, stall, restaurant that you just don't find anywhere else in the world. And if you love sushi, sushi is affordable in Osaka. It's less expensive than, say, in the US or even in Thailand, or anywhere else in the world. It's the one thing in Japan that's extra affordable and extra delicious. So the food of Osaka, what does it score? A 10 plus. Everything about it is so darn good. So oishi. The only problem is I eat too much. Environmental factors in Osaka. Every day is quite nice like this, blue skies, air quality really good. In the spring and summer there's a lot of pollen and the air quality index goes a little bit up for that. But overall, in regard to air quality related to pollution, air quality in Osaka is really good. And there's more detail in the blog that's written for this episode on the borderlessoffice.com. You can check that out there. So for air quality, how does Osaka score? It's an 8. And environmental quality overall is really good. You can drink the water, as I'm drinking from a plastic bottle while I vlog. That might be one of the drawbacks. What are some of the drawbacks to Osaka? For example, when you go to the grocery store, all the fruit, each individual piece will be wrapped in plastic. In regard to fruit, fresh fruit, if you're coming from, say, Thailand, you're not going to get all that fresh tropical fruit that you're used to in Thailand or more tropical areas. Not a lot of English is spoken. There's no problem navigating still because Google Maps and navigating the city is so easy. So there's no problem there, but it can start to feel a little bit isolating because it's hard to communicate with people in general, and not very many people speak English compared to a place, say, like Phuket. Overall score for Osaka is a place to work remotely. First, the ease of working here, just the day-to-day ease of getting from point A to point B, of getting to your co-work or wherever you're working from is so good. The ease of the day, how does it score? It's a 10. And quality of life, how is quality of life in Osaka? From environmental to things to do to your creative energy, quality of life here scores a perfect 10. Overall score then for working remote from Osaka, if it's for 1 month, it's a perfect 10. As a matter of fact, everybody who's working remotely and has the freedom to work from anywhere in the world, if they haven't already done so from Japan or Osaka, then it should. It's a must. It's a must stop for at least a month. And if you're here for a month, it's a perfect 10 is a place to work remotely. If it goes longer than a month, at least for me, I start to feel a little bit isolated because I don't speak Japanese. I'm going to learn. I'm going to start taking lessons, but I don't speak Japanese. So that feeling of isolation that goes on prolongs after a month, then the remote work score starts to go down to maybe to an 8. But at least for that first month, this place, Osaka, is amazing. It's a must. It's a perfect 10. Highly recommend it. Everyone, I'll see you next from Seoul. And after that, I'll see you from Qatar and then back to Japan. I'm going to review Tokyo and Kyoto as places to work remotely. If there's a city you would like to see me do a feature on, leave a comment below or send me a direct message. You can reach me at theborderlessoffice.com.